everyone, happy Wednesday. It's Alysia and I'm very excited to be with you today for our weekly global online fireside chat. Today I'm broadcasting from UK once again after my return from an incredibly informative European Entrepreneurship and Investor Summit hosted by the Prime Minister of Malta, Dr. Joseph Muscat, on the gorgeous Mediterranean island of Malta. Meeting with such incredible global thought leaders and investors during the summit has been a real treat and has once again highlighted the importance of our global online fireside chat community. Many exciting things await us as a result of this exciting, successful trip. As always, today we have an amazing session planned for you. We have a panel of inspiring entrepreneurs joining us from across the globe, logging in to help you understand the role of us as entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in the coming future. Living in these incredibly evolutionary times, one of the biggest changes that we are seeing globally is the highly disruptive impact that we as entrepreneurs are having on the world around us. Gone are the days where our destinies are in the hands of government and big business. As entrepreneurs, this is our time, and we're here to learn how to harness the power of entrepreneurship to create a new, exciting future for us all. Today's session embodies everything we as global entrepreneurs stand for, and we'll be learning from our super inspiring, super hustling global entrepreneurs themselves. So today is going to be a very, very fun session. Now I've got you all excited. Let me go ahead and introduce you to our VIP guests before asking them to properly introduce themselves to you. Welcome to Washington, D.C.-based Matthias Arnaud, who's an entrepreneur, consultant, and global thinker. Welcome to Nigeria-based Craig Boma-Braid, who's an entrepreneur, startup champion, and global game changer. Welcome to India-based Subham Charan, who's an innovator, collaborator, and risk taker. Welcome to Cameroon-based Natalie Nkembu, who's a leader, coach, and human rights activist. And welcome to San Francisco-based Kirti Kadam, who's a serial entrepreneur, innovator, and maker. Now, I know you want to hear from them, so I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you quickly, starting with Kirti. Kirti, please say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. This is Kirti Kadam. I'm very excited to be here and share my insights on entrepreneurship. Just a quick introduction. I run a company called 100rupees.com, an online appointment booking engine for all tech needs. And I also run a community for startups called Pune Open Coffee Club, which is based out of India. And yeah, love to be here. Great. We'll share more ideas and things about entrepreneurship today.
Welcome, Kirti. Very excited you're joining us. Matthias, please say hi to everybody.
Hey, how you doing, Liz? How you doing, Darren? Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you so much for having me. I am Matthias Arnal. I am the founder and CEO of Market Straddle, a fintech startup that whose mission is to bridge the gap between Wall Street and Main Street. I formerly worked at the IMF, the World Bank, and Booz Allen Hamilton, and I'm also managing director of my dad's art foundation.
Welcome, Matthias, as one of our community's biggest evangelists in Washington, D.C., and a very close friend of mine. We're very excited to have you join us. Subham, please say hi to everyone.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Subham from Bangalore, India. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm running a company called Verister Technology, which deals with the smart technology. And basically, we are building IoT-based product, and our aim is to help the society throughout the world. So I'm very excited to be here, and thanks everyone.
Welcome, 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 Subham. Nat, please say hi to everybody.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie Nkembu. I am the CEO of Davmount Limited, a company based in the UK, and we deal with management consultancy and back office administration principally. I am the president of a non-government organization in Italy and another one in Cameroon called Air Global, the acronym. And I'm very glad to be with you today and to share my insight on entrepreneurship and the future ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nat. And Nat represents our ever-growing, very inspiring community in Cameroon. So welcome, Nat. And last but definitely not least, Boma, please say hi from Nigeria.
Hi, everyone. My name is Boma Brady. I currently manage a company called Fortune Global Resources here in Nigeria. I'm also a director of Maverick Services in the UK. My vision is to see a Nigeria of entrepreneurs and leaders solving meaningful problems on a global scale. Our mission is to achieve our vision, but most importantly, it is to impact 1 million entrepreneurs to dominate their market by the year 2035. I'm happy to be among you guys, and I hope I can do my best to address the issues we are talking about.
Welcome, Boma. Everybody, you can see we have a panel of very special entrepreneurs joining us today, so I think we're going to have an amazing session. Just before we jump into our questions, I know you want to learn from them. A few shout-outs. On the screen are contact details for our VIPs. You can email your questions through to Inspire Me at Online Fireside Chat, and we'll do our very best to include them. Our VIPs are also all on LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out to them. As you can hear, they are very, very, very smart, young, ambitious, driven entrepreneurs, and I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. A reminder, we have community champions and ever-growing meetup groups in over 80 cities in 55 countries around the globe, including North and South America, the UK, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, India, Asia, and Australia. I know you want to learn from our panel, so I'm not going to tell you all those cities today. If you'd like to meet up with one of your local chapters or you'd like to start your own, you can reach out to us or put you in contact with our community champion. On that note, thank you to all our champions from around the globe. You know you're the heart and soul of our community, and we wouldn't be here today without you. Over the next few months, with all your help, our plan is to inspire and empower entrepreneurs in over 100 countries. We know that together we can make this happen. Thanks to our VIP entrepreneurs for joining us today. We are very privileged to be learning from you. Thanks again to our growing family of supporters and collaborators from across the developing world, for once again hosting sessions for hundreds of entrepreneurs who don't have access to the necessary bandwidth or understanding the English language to join their sessions on our sessions on their own. Thank you to all the presidents, prime ministers, ambassadors, CEOs, government ministries, UN offices, US Embassy corners, British Council offices, university campuses, schools, business incubators, chamber of commerces, community centers, and community radio stations and media for all your ongoing weekly hosting support and for raising awareness within your regions and communities. Thank you to everyone from our UN Women team for all your support as well. Once again, thanks to the ongoing efforts of our champions who stream across new live platforms today. If you'd like us to broadcast from a radio station in your community, please reach out to us so that we can connect and inspire and empower even more entrepreneurs. Now, I know what you want to do. You want to learn from the best, and I think they're ready to teach. So here we go, everybody. To make our VIP guests feel as comfortable as possible, this is how it's going to work. We're going to pose a question to one of you, but it goes to all of you. Please feel free to give us your insights and share your honest opinions. And we are here to learn from you. Today's session is a very disruptive one because we are disruptive entrepreneurs changing the world. So feel free to share your honest insights. So everybody, let's get started. Who's going to be our first guest panelist today to answer our question? Matthias.
All right.
The first question goes to you. So Matthias, what do you think, based on all you've accomplished, based on working at global organizations, as well as playing the role of entrepreneur, what value do you think entrepreneurs add to an ecosystem?
Can you repeat
Sure, Matthias. Sure. So you've worked at some of the world's biggest global organizations, and you play the role of entrepreneur. What value do you think we as entrepreneurs add to an ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a great question. As you mentioned, in my experience, I've been in 2 international organizations where I've been able to work across the globe, and especially in an area where you're dealing with such an important topic, such as reducing global poverty and also minimizing financial crises and mitigating financial crises. I think that it was really there where I realized that the importance of entrepreneurship and the role that it plays, because I think that at such a large organization, they can really only do so much. It's such an enormous institution that entrepreneurship is really all about agility. It's really about being able to make decisions on the fly, and I think that is really what differentiates entrepreneurs to the kinds of issues that I was dealing with. And so I think that in such an ecosystem, such as the World Bank, I did not feel as empowered to make the change and to be able to act on the changes that I wanted to see in the world. And so this is very much honing back to what Gandhi's quote. He said, "You have to be the change that you want to see in the world, and there's no other way than entrepreneurship."
Thank you, Matthias. A great way to start today's session. And the concept of feeling empowered, I think, is something that we as entrepreneurs globally feel is really important, critical to success. It's something we're noticing across the globe. Boma, you're in Nigeria. Globally, everybody's watching Nigeria as a startup hub. What value do you feel entrepreneurship adds to the ecosystem?
Well, currently in Nigeria, there's a recession in Nigeria. So with something like that, a lot of people have woken up to the fact that they can't continue to wait for jobs. The unemployment rate is quite high here. So lots of people are now getting into entrepreneurship and learning new skills, training people into honing their skills and becoming business owners. But the main thing about entrepreneurship is not just to be a freelancer, but rather to create employment for people, which will invariably help businesses here and help the economy, which is in the long run.
Fantastic insights, Boma. Thank you. And Kirti, I know this is something you are very, very passionate about. Boma's touched on it. Matthias has touched on it. How important is community building when it comes to an entrepreneur's journey to success?
Well, I think it's one of the most important things to do as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is all about problem solving, right? You own the problem and you contribute in every possible way towards the economic growth of the country. And it's not one person's responsibility, or it's not one person, one man army thing. So you need to have a support that is from across the border, from different parts of the city that you're living in, the state that you're living in, or even the country and the world, right? So that's why the most important thing, the backbone for every problem to be solved, is a community. Without community, you cannot solve big problems. Of course, locally you can solve a couple of problems, but the most important thing is for an entrepreneur is to build the community, because that is what, as Matthias said, is what will empower people and the whole community to go ahead and solve a problem. And that's the contribution we're all expecting from an entrepreneur to do, right?
Fantastic insights. Thank you, Kirti. And I know, Nat, this is something you're very, very passionate about. Please share your thoughts with us.
I think entrepreneurship is all about building, impacting, and we don't just go ahead and create stuff that don't impact the lives of others. So community building is the first thing. We must be able to develop products as entrepreneurs, services that impact the lives of people around us, and empowering them is the greatest thing, because today we are so many of us that want to enter into entrepreneurship, but few people have the resources, few people have access to resources like this, and they need these resources. So it's all about empowering people and impacting them to make sure that they too impact the society in their own way and the change continues.
Thank you, Nat. And the word empowering is becoming more and more important when it comes to us as entrepreneurs. Subham, the next question goes to you. Of course, we're opening it up to the rest of our panel too. You are in one of the most exciting startup hubs in the world, India. I mean, Silicon Valley loves India. Investors love India. You guys just are, you're changing the world when it comes to entrepreneurship. You're so ambitious and motivated. What do you think are the main factors that are changing the face of entrepreneurship, both in India and globally? Subham?
Thanks for this question, and yeah, it is a good question, and I can say, like, according to the India ecosystem, I believe on the small cities where the entrepreneurs are coming up in India actually, and I believe definitely in the future it will help to the society. So even though I am also thinking to help the society by empowering them, and definitely in India it is growing too fast. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Subham. And Kirti, this question goes to you too. You're a young, successful entrepreneur from India that's living in Silicon Valley as well. You're doing multiple things very, very well. In your opinion, what are the main factors that are changing the face of entrepreneurship globally? Any thoughts you want to share?
Well, talking about entrepreneurship anywhere in the world, the factors are mostly one of the biggest factors. Like one of our colleagues just mentioned here is unemployment. Right, one of the most important factors contributing to entrepreneurship also is the social impact that every person is thinking of. When we come across problems, when we come across things that we really hate about every single day, we wake up and we see problems, and we just want to solve those problems. These are the factors, when we see them and feel why is somebody not solving these problems, right? So entrepreneurship is being entangled from all these sides, from different perspectives, in terms of be it unemployment, be it even the smallest things like solving a problem like the roads, right? The roads in the third world countries, including India, we don't have great roads for transportation. So entrepreneurship is being faced, or entrepreneurs, people every day, they face these problems, and entrepreneurship is something, it's a ship that will solve these problems.
Thank you, Kirti. And now we've got a very interesting community question for Matthias. So everybody, here goes. So Matthias, you are based in Washington, D.C., home to the American president. Based on the changes that you are seeing, what is the role of government and big business when it comes to building and growing economies these days?
I think that business has to be able to thrive in a way in spite of government. I think that, of course, government really helps. For example, in the work that the economist Darren Acemoglu of MIT, he basically did a long study on institutionalism. Basically, when the government is there to protect business rather than hinder it or impede on its activities, then the economy will be better off for it. If people have the legal rights to be able to establish a business in a very fast manner, or if they're able to do it at a low cost, then, kind of to the point, I mean, I don't necessarily agree that unemployment in a way helps entrepreneurship. If you're in an economy that it's a very costly thing to do to be an entrepreneur, you're not really going to have a thriving formal economy if it's very expensive for you to establish a business. So, you may have very informal entrepreneurs, but you definitely want to be able to have a formal entrepreneurship ecosystem. But I think that in mentioning in the United States, to be honest, I think that business will be okay, left or right. Statistically speaking, the stock market thrives when Democrats are in power. That's not me. That's what the study suggests. But the economy does well regardless, because the economy has checks and balances, and that's really what helps the economy thrive.
Thank you, Matthias. And Boma, I would love to pose the same question to you. You're in Nigeria. Some of the most ambitious, driven, inspiring entrepreneurs I've met across the globe come from Nigeria. You're very, very smart and very driven. What do you think the role of government and big businesses in Nigeria relative to entrepreneurs?
Okay, so basically, from Nigeria's perspective, our government, or rather, our government has been, how to explain, have been trying to ease the doing of doing business in Nigeria. So now it's easier for people coming to Nigeria to get visas. Unlike before, it was a hell. It was hard to get visas to come into the country. You wait a lot of time. But now, within 2 days, you can get your visa and come to the country to do business. Then there are some laws that have been in place for a long time, but the government has started reviewing those laws and trying to see how to make it easier, such as registering a company. Before, you need a lawyer to go to do it, but now you can go online and register it within 24 hours. You get a company and other things. So government is trying to see how to open up doing business so that foreign investors can come into the country and invest in the country without having to go through bottlenecks. And there's a major problem in Nigeria as well. So government is also trying to cover all that, reduce things like that, such that people can feel free again to go to areas that people would not normally want to go to. So places like the Niger Delta, places like the North. So things are better now, and government is doing their best to make it easier so that people who are already in the country can do business, and then others can also come and do business. So government is trying their best. And basically the private sector does most of the work anyway. But then we still need government to regulate things so that it can balance itself out.
Thank you, Boma. And this is a message that I keep hearing from our African entrepreneurs, that Africa is open for business. Very, very exciting stuff. You're hustling away. Very impressive. Thank you, Boma. Nat, I know you've got some insights from Cameroon. Please share with us.
Thank you. I think the government has a very big role to play in the economy, because the government first is the facilitator and the regulator. They have to play that role, facilitating the economy and regulating it, to make sure that it is safe for entrepreneurs and for investors, because investors will not invest in a country with an unsafe environment, which means we are no longer talking just about business. We're talking about other sectors of the economy, of the country entirely. So without repeating what the others have already said, I'm trying to say the government has a big role to play in ensuring that there's peace, there is the instruments that facilitate entrepreneurship, like what Boma already said, are in place so that people will feel safe, because investments are a risk in themselves. And then investing in a risky environment is double risk. So people won't want to invest in a risky environment. As for the context of my country, the government is doing their best to facilitate the economy and the business climate to enable foreign investors coming. They have adopted so many laws of recent to enable investors have so many advantages if they come in to invest. So I think that is already a great step they have taken.
Thank you, Nat. And I think this is why, as you've all said, these conversations are so critical, because I'm a huge proponent of a third wave where government, big business, and entrepreneurs work together to create a very exciting future for all of us, but we have to collaborate. And it's conversations such as this, hearing from entrepreneurs such as yourselves, what is working, what is not working, and how do we bring governments to the party in terms of educating them as well as to what laws need to change to bring foreign investors. I know a big issue that I have when I'm chatting to foreign investors in Silicon Valley, in Europe, here in the UK, is they are scared to invest in the emerging markets. And even though you guys are often building very solid businesses, the investors are scared, and we have to show them that we are ready for business, which you as entrepreneurs are doing. And Kirti, we have the next question going to you. You're in you spend a lot of time in Silicon Valley, and this is quite an interesting community question. So here goes. It's open to all our panelists as well. Kirti, do you think that the disruption caused by many entrepreneurs such as Uber, Amazon, Airbnb is a good thing or not?
I think it's one of the best things that's happening to the world, because when disruptions happen, that is when a small guy can become a big guy in no time, right? So every aspiring entrepreneur is getting inspired by these disruptive technologies that are happening across the world, namely the Ubers and the Airbnbs and these unicorns coming out of even India, China, and other places, right? So I think it's a great thing that's happening because it encourages a lot of young students who are studying. It's no more the Hollywood, Bollywood celebrities only, or it's no more only the sports people who are going to be celebrities. It's going to be these entrepreneurs who are going to be the celebrities, and it's great for the growth of any economy to steadily grow. And also the other thing is that these disruptive technologies are also increasing employment and increasing the income generating factor in an ecosystem. They themselves create an ecosystem where a lot of vendors and suppliers are created because of their technology. So I think it's a fantastic thing that's happening right now.
Thank you, Kirti. And talking about unicorns in India, you have a community of 23,000 cool entrepreneurs. Are there any really cool Indian unicorns that we should know about that really excite you as far as the future goes?
Of course. So one of the biggest ones is Flipkart, which is the rival for Amazon. It's one of the most coveted startup story in India. It's the most inspirational story. Then there's Ola, which is again a big rival to Uber. So it's another unicorn that's been sitting and disrupting a lot of things in India. So I think Flipkart and Ola are doing great in terms of bringing or putting India on the startup map. Just similar to Uber and Amazon in the US, we have Flipkart and Ola here in India.
Thank you, Kirti. And Boma, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this in terms of Uber, Amazon, Airbnb, the disruptions they're causing, the effect they're having in Nigeria. Please give us your thoughts.
Well, it is good because it helps young entrepreneurs to think, research, and be creative to solve meaningful problems from our own side of the world, rather than just copying. When they see what other people are doing, it gives them this how I put it, a sort of inspiration that we can do this too, and they think and try and do something, maybe not exactly, but similar or better. So they improve on what is already existing, and they're doing good things too.
Thank you, Boma. And are there any exciting unicorns coming along in Nigeria that we all should be watching?
Yes, there's Konga. Konga is like the Amazon of Nigeria. They've gone as far as going into fintech. So they have Konga Pay now. So they no longer rely on other payment platforms. They have their own payment platform within the system. So Kunga is one of them, and others. There's the travel one. So there's Jumia, which is like the competition to Kunga. Then there's Jumia Travel, which is the travel version of something like Travago. I don't know if you're familiar with Travago.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, so there's Jumia Travel, there's Jumia, sort of a smaller version of Kunga again. But Jumia is quite a big conglomerate in Nigeria. Funny enough, Jumia is Germans, so they're not Nigerians. They're a German company in Nigeria doing business in Nigeria and some parts of Africa.
Thank you, Boma. You see, entrepreneurs, I hope you're paying attention, because these are unicorns that you should be looking at and seeing how can you be the next unicorn. Thank you, Boma, and thank you, Kirti. Matthias, you got some quick thoughts you want to add there?
Yes, please. You know, something really interesting about these companies, the way that they started was actually quite local and very specific, very focused. For example, Amazon started with books, but throughout his whole time, Jeff Bezos was always thinking about the everything store, which many decades later, we're able to see that now. And back then, when Jeff Bezos, actually, it's something that he would talk about back when he would be selling books, and his colleagues, they were just, even his investors, they would just laugh at him. Because back then the internet wasn't that big, and so but I think that really my point is that you just have to start with the low-hanging fruit. And the great thing about that is that you have low-hanging fruits in your community all around. In the case of Uber, it was very similar. Actually, the founder basically got this idea that he wanted really more of a personal driver, but was very high end. And so the technology and the price point was really for high end driving. But then eventually, over the long run, then as soon as you get to mass, as soon as you get more investors on board, then you're able to scale the way that you're able to do. It's the same with Elon Musk. First with Tesla, he started out with a really high end car that only Hollywood actors could pay for. But now he's about to release the Model 3 that is basically going to be the iPhone of cars. And same with, really, I think that what we're getting from these examples is that you really have to think really long term, but you have to start small. You have to really handcraft that experience initially. At Airbnb, they went to the customers themselves. They actually knocked on the doors and said, "Hey, how's your experience? We'll take a picture for you. We'll improve the experience." And now they're thinking about how to make the travel experience in general, more broadly, an amazing one.
Fantastic insights. Thank you, Matthias. Everyone, I hope you took notes. There were very, very valuable nuggets inside what Matthias just said. Nat, I know you've got some insights you want to share. Please go ahead.
Yes, in Cameroon, for example, there are young guys there that are doing really great things and creating products that are really disruptive, like Mami Chinanji, who has Njoko. Njoko has been termed the largest job search engine in Africa. He created it from his bedroom. And it is something amazing. There's another one too, Alysia, who created Gifted Mom. It is an app that permits a mother or a pregnant woman to consult the doctor or to get to the doctor through an SMS, a free SMS, at any time of the day, at any time of the night. So I think the things are really changing, and young people are really doing great things, copying examples from somewhere and trying to do great things that are impacting their societies at various levels.
Thank you, Nat. And as everybody can see, these are fantastic insights shared by fantastic entrepreneurs. Moving on to our next question. This goes to our whole panel, and we'd love to ask each of you your individual opinions on this. Starting with Matthias. Matthias, what are some of the biggest hurdles you're currently experiencing as far as being an entrepreneur goes? And how, as a global community, can we assist you in getting to the next stage of your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that being and everyone will tell you this, being an entrepreneur is hard, but it's not nearly as hard as you think it is until you do it. It's really I think it's an MBA, to be honest. You have to do a lot of things. You have to really just roll up your sleeves and do a lot of the things that you would not really imagine you would be doing. But I think that what it takes is really grit, and in the sense that in entrepreneurship is about being persistent, but not really with the problem that you have. Not with being too hard-headed, but grit in the sense of being able to change, as being flexible and change as problems come along. And you don't really want to solve the problem with the same hammer. If the hammer didn't work that time, then you have to utilize other tools. You have to be able to be resourceful as well. I think that, to be honest, I actually have problems every day, but what I do is I try to be resourceful with the team that now Market Straddle has, and to try to tap on their knowledge and on for them to teach me in a sense. I think that entrepreneurship is really quite a humbling experience, and you really just have to maintain humble throughout the whole experience, because you're never really going to be perfect along the way, and you have to be very open for making mistakes, and mistakes are actually sometimes a blessing. Sometimes a lot of great ideas come from places that you never really thought of, and from people who were an intern, or no one has a monopoly on ideas. And I think that problems are about getting people together and for a solution, and it's not really a one person show.
Well, Matthias, I have to compliment you in this public forum. I have watched you grow stronger and stronger as an entrepreneur, and I'm very proud of you. And something that Matthias just spoke about, and everybody, I think you should pay attention to it, is this concept of surrounding yourself with a really strong team. There's no shame in being the weakest team member, because you're surrounded by such extraordinary team members. So thank you for sharing that, Matthias, and thank you for saying that mistakes are a blessing. I think it's important for all of us as entrepreneurs to remember. Kirti, please could you give us your thoughts in terms of what are the biggest hurdles you've been experiencing as a global young entrepreneur, and what can we do as a global community to further assist you in building your startup and making it a success?
Okay. So I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs will agree on these two major problems that everybody faces every single day. One is getting the right talent or resource is one of the biggest problems that an entrepreneur has to solve every single day. Because even if you have hired one of the best talents from the industry, it's not going to be easy to retain. So that's one of the major problems that we at 100rupees.com are also trying to solve. And the way that we're trying to do it is give more benefits to people coming on board. In terms of just a little bit of creativity, getting into the perks point of view. We are trying to have a smaller work days, let's say from 8 a.m. in the morning to 2 p.m. and then you're off from work and you can go home, have fun, everything. And that way we're trying to solve the productivity problems. Two, we're trying to also give work from home options for people who would like to work from home as well. So that's one of the key problems that we are trying to solve every single day. And two, definitely the funding part, wherein you definitely need money when you are at a scalable position where you want to really take your startup to the next level. I always notice this with a lot of young entrepreneurs saying that we need funding even when they're not ready for funding. So which is actually a mistake. But then we all learn from our mistakes. So I think whoever is ready for funding, it's difficult to really gauge when they're ready. But mature entrepreneurs know when they're ready and how to solve the problems. And at 100rupees.com, at at our startup, what we're trying to do is we're looking at different funding options. We're not just reaching out to angel investors. Again, venture capitalists is something, or people who will be coming in the next rounds, but the first step is obviously your family and friends and the angel investors. But again, there are other options wherein you can go for crowdfunding, and also there are a lot of startup challenges that we enroll our startup into. We don't mind going and learning the tricks and trades, fundamental tricks and trades, even though we might be a little mature for that, but that actually is something that we're trying to solve every single day. So these two hurdles is what we're trying to solve on a daily basis, other than technology and operations and all of that. But these are the two key problems.
Thank you, Kirti, and you've touched on such fascinating insights, this issue of perks, and I can imagine you have a lot of challenges in Silicon Valley because you competing against the likes of Facebook and Google, which have huge perks net. So very smart thinking on your part. And my next question to our panel was the issue of funding and readiness for funding. So I'm coming back to you on that. We're going to spend some time just chatting about this issue of venture capital and making sure you can get funding when you need it. Subham, I know you've got some insights to add to what Kirti was saying. Please go for it.
Yes, thanks. In addition with the Kirti's statement, I can go ahead with the hurdles. There are several hurdles that we are facing as of now. Like among them, I can say like, security, like, securing our product, securing our, trade secrets and all. So in here also we are facing issues. And even though being always innovative for an entrepreneur, it is bit tough, and finding the innovators. Okay, so that is also a big factor to survive in the industry. And there are several more hurdles, like starting at the beginning. We have to take some strict risky decision, so that you can go ahead with your innovative ideas. And I would like to suggest, like, this global community can help with the funds, as Katie mentioned, and provide some good help to growing, like securing the ideas, how we can secure the ideas, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Subham. You touched on something very interesting, this idea of IP protection and that, and we'll definitely be coming back to it. I know in Malta it was a very big topic. Boma, please go ahead. We'd love to hear your insights in terms of our current question.
So from my side, my clients are always looking for funding. Some of them are ready for funding. Some of them are not ready for funding. So it's my duty to make them ready for funding. And my weakness is actually funding. So the way I'm trying to solve that problem is by trying to go into joint ventures or collaboration with foreigners who can meet that gap. And what I mean by meeting that gap is, if they come in, I mean, we're already there, so they don't need to interface directly. We interface through us, and then we interface directly to the Nigerian business or the Nigerian client, and then we try to take care of them such that the negotiation table, there's no real any. I'll explain that now. There's no side loses. Everybody gets a win-win at the end of the day. That's the way I look at it. Hopefully we can work something out.
Thank you, Boma. And you've touched on some very, very important insights. And for our community members that are not aware of this, due to community demand, we piloted a new WhatsApp group yesterday called Ask a VC. And Boma is actually, he's right in a lot of respects. And this is going to draw us into our next question. What are our panelists' views of venture capital? And this issue that Kirti also touched on, the idea of being ready for funding and the different stages of growth in terms of a business and where you actually go for funding. And Boma is right, there's a journey to be traveled, and I'd love to explore this with our entrepreneurs, starting with Kirti. Kirti, just like Boma was saying, you mentioned it earlier, Matthias has also mentioned it, the idea of going to friends and family first before you're going to venture capitalists, the role of angel investors in that. Please share your experience with regard to accessing funding, what has worked, what hasn't worked, what are the challenges you're facing, and how do we actually make the system work better for all of us as entrepreneurs? Kirti, please go ahead.
Okay. Well, the only two people that really believed in me and my idea was my father and my best friend. So that was my first funding source. That's where I actually, in fact, even to convince my dad was a little bit of a tricky situation. But then once he understood the technology and stuff, he said, okay, let's go ahead and put some money in there. And then I had absolutely no problems convincing my friend when I just told him, this is what we're trying to do. Can you help us out? And he's like, yeah, boom, here. What else do you want? And to this day, he's still been there with the startup in the background, wherein he says, do you need some more injection of funds? What's going on? And not just that, these friends and family, they also help in many different ways. Even when it comes to Facebook likes, the smallest of the favors, right? So they always are there. But the point, even Gomer also said, most importantly, when you are trying to talk to VCs, they are looking at a big ticket, right? Are you really ready for a bigger chunk of funding? Because when a VC looks at a business plan, they're looking somewhere, the smallest ticket would be $1 million to $5 million. That's what a VC is looking at. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, they think that since they have $1 in a $1 million idea, they think they're entitled for it, which is not true. We really have to go back to our drawing boards as entrepreneurs and try to really understand, are we really solving the problem, and are we really impacting the place that we, or the domain that we're trying to target. So once we know that we have done that, again, VC is not going to come in the first year of your operations. That's not the trick to get funding. I think initially when your family and friends have invested, grow, build that prototype, grow a little bit, and see some traction, and then look for angels. Because again, getting funded or fundraising is a full-time job. You cannot do it part-time or moonlight it, because it is something that needs a lot of follow-up. So make sure that your team is working on everyday things like the operations, the transactions, the traction, the user experience that's going on with your business. That's all very important. That's what is actually going to bring funding. So that's something that's very important. I know of a startup who does this very nicely, and the founders, the two co-founders, are very much focused on fundraising. And the rest of the team, they have a group of, I think, a team of about 100 employees. So everything's taken care of. They've put a system together, and every day there's traction and good things happening. So again, angel funding, you need to pursue a lot of angels. You need to really look for smart money and not dumb money. The people. This is where angel investing really gets tricky, because you don't want to just take money from somebody who's not interested, or is not going to be involved, or who's not going to be passionate about your idea. I think the best angel investors are those who are really having some interest or inclination towards the idea that you're working on, the problem that you're solving, because their inputs and their strategic involvement will play a major role, because they are the ones who are gonna get you the venture funding. So I think entrepreneurs should understand that go for smart money, not dumb money, because dumb money is something that you will be given, but then with dumb money comes a lot of trouble. So stay away from trouble and try to just find the right investor for your startup or your business.
Fantastic insights being shared today by our entrepreneurs. I hope everybody's writing everything down. We have a question for you, Kirti, before we ask Nat and Matthias what they think about what you've been talking about. Kirti, you know of Sam Altman from Y Combinator. He's a young, very successful entrepreneur, one that we all aspire to be like. And one of the questions that drives Sam Altman before choosing a company to come to Y Combinator is, can this be a $10 billion plus company? And I know a lot of entrepreneurs find that number scary, and a lot of entrepreneurs find that number very inspiring. How do you explain to entrepreneurs in your community, Kirti, how to transition to thinking in that mindset?
In terms of growing to a $10 million company?
To thinking in terms of a unicorn, like you've mentioned, a startup that's doing this very, very well. The founders are very focused. They're doing specific things to get results. How do you explain to entrepreneurs to move into that frame of mind?
So, every big thing has very humble and very small steps that needs to be taken. And it's, I call this adjusting and readjusting, because as an entrepreneur, just accept it, you're going to fail. You are going to fail, and if you're not failing, something is horribly wrong with your startup or your business. So make sure that you're failing, and you're failing fast, as Eric Ries puts it very nicely in his book, The Lean Startup. So very, very important that to get to a unicorn mindset, you need to be ready to fail. That's the very first step. Accept that the market is not going to accept you the way you're coming and trying to sell the thing that you're trying to sell. So you need to learn a lot. Even at our company 100rupees.com, we've revamped the website. I think 4 times we've revamped. We've tried to make really things easier. So I've noticed one very important thing that unicorns or very big corporations do. I was recently just yesterday trying to create a group on Facebook. And Facebook earlier, we used to see when you create a group, it used to be like 3 steps. You need to search for a group name, and then try to put your logo and all of that. And yesterday when I was trying to do that, they've made it so simple. It's just 1 click. You just write your name for the group and you say submit, and it's done. So I think simplicity is what you should be looking at. How is the user experience going to be with your business, right? When you want to get into the unicorn mode, 2 things. 1 is failures, accept them, adjust, keep readjusting until you find a really good formula for your success. And 2, make your startup or your business as simple as possible, and that's what is going to actually become a compelling story for investors to invest as well. So I think to become a unicorn, these are the very basic 2 things needed. I think that's what is
Thank
important.
you, Kirti. Brilliant insights. I know, guys, we're running out of time, so we're going to quickly ask Nat, and then we're going to ask Matthias to quickly give us their insights on this topic before we jump on to our next question. I know there's a lot to cover today. Nat, as quickly as you can, please share your insights on this question.
Okay, a few days ago, my project coordinator asked me a very funny question. He happens to be the CEO of Bandersoft too. He asked me a question. How do you go about with so much enthusiasm on a topic, on a project you don't have funds handy for? Like, okay, this question is what many people out there will ask you. They are so discouraged and they need someone to be able to tell them, no, if you can develop this idea, if you can make it sellable, if you can get something out of this idea. They need somebody to be able to tell them that. They don't actually believe that others have succeeded to raise funds for a project. Another thing is we have to start from somewhere, but they too don't know, most people don't know, we have to start from somewhere. From the basics, you can start raising funds at the basic level, start developing the idea, and then someone can come in. You don't necessarily need to get all the funding you need from a start. I think that is what I would like to add to it.
Thank you, Nat. Matthias, as quickly as you can. I'm so sorry. Please add your insights.
Yeah, real quick. So one point I wanted to make is that number one, before you go for an investor is that what really makes a business is not the idea. Everyone has ideas, but 99% of the success of a startup is the execution and the execution of that of you and the team. And because, you know, it's one of the examples, WhatsApp, that app that we all utilize today, they first started off with, basically it was just a status. It was just for you to let people know what your status was. Are you available? Are you busy? So, and they approached Sequoia. Sequoia said, no, absolutely not. I'm not interested in this. But then eventually they improved on it. They actually reworked it entirely. And then it was Sequoia asking them, hey, can we put money into WhatsApp? And then said, yeah, of course.
Fantastic insights. Thank you, Matthias. Now we're going to ask our VIP entrepreneurs to prepare their tweet piece of advice that all of us as entrepreneurs can go ahead and apply to our businesses while our VIPs are preparing their tweet piece of advice. Thank you to everyone for a truly amazing session. Just to keep you posted on some of our upcoming sessions with some of the world's best joining us again as panelists. On the 19th of July, next week, Wednesday, we have an Inspiring Women Entrepreneurs monthly session. And the topic is, how do we get more women-owned businesses invested in? A global conversation. We have government leaders, entrepreneurs, and investors all joining us for this debate. One you don't want to miss. Then on the 23rd of July, we have the 5 most important truths learned as an early stage investor. That's our Sunday investor session. So if you've got questions for the investors, that's the time to ask them. And then on the 26th of July, this is a very cheeky topic. Should investors have entrepreneurship experience first before they play the role of investor? A debate once again, one you don't want to miss. Keep sending your questions through to Inspire Me at Online Fireside Chat so we can continue to learn what you're up to. We have some awesome WhatsApp groups you definitely don't want to miss out. We love hearing from you. Our entrepreneurs love hearing from you. So stay in contact. You can find us at Inspire Me at onlinefiresidechat.com. You can also find me as well as our VIP entrepreneurs on LinkedIn. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this session and feel there are other entrepreneurs that could benefit from our Fireside Chats, remember to keep sharing the invitations. If you'd like to head up a really cool WhatsApp group and have a topic that you're very passionate about and a young thought leader in, please reach out to us and we'll see how we can support you on that. Now let's ask our VIPs as quickly as possible to please share their tweet piece of advice, starting with Boma. Boma, please share your tweet piece of advice. Did we lose Boma, everybody? Let's ask Kirti. Kirti, please share your tweet piece of advice.
So, for entrepreneurs to be successful, if you want to really be, out there and build unicorns, stay away from 2 things. I call this, the one thing is tiger in the jungle syndrome, and 2, attraction of distraction. So tiger in the jungle is the fear that is sitting in the jungle, and we sitting in our offices, we are thinking of the tiger all the time. So forget the tiger, execute. And 2, attraction of distraction, have the focus. Without focus, you're going nowhere. So try to stay away from all the distractions that are in your way to success.
Fantastic insights for a very smart young entrepreneur. Nat, please share your tweet piece of advice as quickly as you can. I'm so sorry.
Okay, what I'll say is don't quit after the first try. If you fail the first time, go back to the drawing board and try to check what went wrong and come back.
Very inspiring words. Thank you, Nat. Matthias, please go for it.
Hashtag listen to your customers and hashtag iterate as fast as possible.
Fantastic advice, guys. Write that down. He knows what he's talking about. Subham, please go for it.
Yeah, think about society and be smart executable, not the worker. Thank you.
Thank you, Subham. We seem to have lost Boma, everybody. I'm very sorry about that. We'll ask him to post it in the chat window. My tweet piece. Oh, Boma's back, everybody. Boma, please share your tweet piece of advice.
If you want to be successful, start small, fail fast, and keep executing.
Fantastic advice, everybody. I hope you took note of that one. My tweet piece of advice: be very grateful for all that you have. Learning from these extraordinary entrepreneurs is a privilege. Our community is a privilege. Having friends and family that support you, as Kirti said, is a privilege. We are building our dreams. Never forget how lucky you are. Thank you again to everyone for a spectacular session. We want you to have an amazing week. As our entrepreneurs said, remember to keep hustling and never, ever, ever give up. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask these extraordinary entrepreneurs to shout bye to you. 1, 2, 3. Guys, shout bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye to all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.